Welcome back to IntyCenter, everybody, for our penultimate IntyCenter from the FODEUSS Baseball Classic during the group stages. And do we have some wild affairs this week? We'll start it off with some ass kickings, though, with a final score that more resembled American football than America's pastime. The miasma theory planted their foot firmly in the ass of Venezuela. That son of a bitch, George Gore, homered, as did Dan Bruthers, as did Pete Browning. Jocko Milligan drove in 3. Old Hoss tossed a complete game, and Miasma wins this one 17-3. Also opening a can of whoop ass, the Say Hey Willie Mays Hazes. Yogi Berra had 4 hits, including a homer and 3 runs batted in. Stan Musial had 3 hits and drove in 3. Rico Petrocelli and Dick Allen each homered. They take down the Teddy Bears 13-3. Pedro Martinez, he turned in the best pitching performance we've seen so far in the FODEUSS Baseball Classic. He went the distance, spinning a 3-hit shutout of the Bandwagoners. Hanley Ramirez, Manny Ramirez, and Albert Pujols, not named Ramirez, each homered, and Lat Amazings won this one 8-0. Mark McGwire homered twice. Cal Ripken, Don Mattingly each homered. The DeLorean drivers took out some frustration on House of the Dragoons. They beat them 14-8. And we did have one game with some drama and closest on the 24th. Atlanta Leap Year Lemurs. They use a 2-run double from Jeff Kent in the first and an RBI single and a scored on wild pitch in the second, and they led 4-0 early. Reseda would get one back in each of the 3rd and 4th innings, and then a 2-run Jim Rice homer in the 5th would tie that game at 4. Frank Thomas quickly unties it with a solo homer in the top of the 6th. But the free fallers used doubles from Paul Molitor and Dave Parker to tie it up, a triple from George Brett to take the lead, and a sac fly from Ozzie Smith to extend it, leading 7-5 after 6. Atlanta would threaten in the 7th, getting a 1-out triple from Kent, but Goose Gossage would strike out Lance Berkman and Luis Gonzalez to escape the inning. Bruce Setter would send the Lemurs down in order in the 8th, and Mariano Rivera would get a 1-2-3 ninth for the save, and that'll put the free fallers knock, knock, knocking on heaven's door, or at least knock, knock, knocking on the knockout rounds. Hey, brand new ball players wrapped up group play with an emphatic win. That's puts them all but in the knockout round with an absolute whooping of Reseda free fallers. A Ted Williams 3-run homer and a Joe Medwick 2-run homer came as part of a 7-run inning. The ball players never looked back from there. Williams would end up with 2 homers and a triple. Harlan Cliff would homer twice, and the ball players would rout the free fallers 19-3. Side note, I'm guessing Harlan Cliff skyrocketing up some draft boards as we think about the main game that was starting up at the end of the Classic here. Just saying. Miasma theory. They used 2 homers and 5 ribbies from Jocko Milligan. They continue their late surge in group play. They down the Lemurs 13-6. That result moves Miasma much closer to the knockout rounds, and it puts the Lemurs on life support. And as you saw in the thread, Tunes came in and ripped that cord out of the wall in perhaps the most painful way possible. Remember, the Alarmo used a 4-run 6th inning to blow the game against 3 true outcomes wide open and had 7 different players register multi-hit games in this one. Corey Kluber will want to have this start wiped from his memory. The Klubot gives up 7 runs on 10 hits and goes just 5 innings. Rumrow Runners got their 11th win in group play. With other results throughout the league, they will have the best record among all teams in group play. They throttle the Bandwagoners 11-1. Chuck Klein hits 2 homers. Heavy Johnson and Babe Ruth each homer. Bullet Rogan, the manager, has a great day. Bullet Rogan, the player, has a great day. He goes 8, gives up 1 run on 4 hits. They get the win and close out their group stage in emphatic fashion. Lad Amazings and Say Hey Willie Mays Hayes were tied at 2 heading into the bottom of the 4th. An RBI single from Adrian Beltre and a 2-run double from Josh Hamilton, with Hamilton thrown out at 3rd to end the inning on that play, put Amazings up 5-2. Clayton Kershaw, Jonathan Papelbon, still fucking hate that guy, and Wade Davis would keep the Willies off the board from there. Lad Amazings win this one 6-2. Teddy Bears and Willies would get a wild back and forth affair on the last day we're going to cover here on IntyCenter this week. The Say Hey Willie Mays Hayes would get an early 1-0 lead in the first, but Teddy Bears would get 2 homers in the second and take a 3-1 lead. Willies would get a 3-run third to take the lead back at 4-3, only for Zach Wheat to lead off the 4th with a homer to tie it back up at 4. Say Hey immediately takes the lead back in the bottom of the inning on an RBI single from Jackie Robinson, but Teddy Bears would tie it at 5 in the top of the 6th. Robinson would get another RBI single, and Yogi Berra would follow that with a 2-run homer to put the Say Hey Willie Mays Hayes up 8-5. But Teddy Bears get a pair in the top of the 7th to make it 8-7. Finally, Say Hey Willie Mays Hayes do take control of the game in the bottom of the inning. Yogi Berra hits a grand slam homer. They go up 12-7. That's the final score in that one. And gotta be honest, this one looked like one of those games in a tournament full of a lot of those kind of games for the bandwagoners, as they trailed Lad Amazings 10-2 heading into the 6th inning. But as Toon/Heel's favorite from the Jedi draft would say, T. Corso, not so fast, my friends. A Willie McCovey 2-run homer sparked a 4-run inning to give them some life. 2 more runs in the 7th brought them to within 10-8. That's where they'd stand heading into the 9th inning. And they were facing Aroldis Chapman, who you probably all know as the domestic abusing motherfucker responsible for giving up my personal favorite home run of all time. Hank Aaron gets a leadoff single. Al Kaline draws a pinch hit walk. And then Frank Robinson gives that motherfucker Chapman what he deserves. A 3-run homer puts the bandwagoners on top 11-10. They go to Harvey Haddix for the bottom of the 9th. He works around a 2-out single, and somehow the bandwagoners go from 10-2 down to 11-10 winners, inexplicably winning this one. Hey, in the 1st, 3rd, and 8th innings, Cleveland's own Big Ed Delahunty did the same thing. He hit home runs. That's a pretty good day for Cleveland's own. He ends up with 7 RBI on the day. Miasma continue their late run up the group stage standings. They're in pretty good position right now. They down the Convicts 12-7. And speaking of late runs here, the DeLorean drivers are doing what they can to stay in contention for the knockout round spot. They get an 8-run 6th inning featuring a bases loaded, bases clearing double from Tony Gwynn. They take down the House of Dragoons, eliminating them. They sit 1 game back in the West Coast USA group. And of course, 3 true outcomes. Remember the Alarmo. They play each other. So that 1 game, very easy to make up. Looks like we're going to come down to the wire in that final 4-team group. That'll do it for IntyCenter this week. We'll see you one more time. That one should be coming to you live from the land of Caitlin Clark. We'll see how this week goes. And we'll see you next time on IntyCenter.